Ray King has been murdered. Do you like puzzles, Mr. Wolff?
With just a month to go until The Accountant 2 hits theaters, fans are buzzing about how the sequel will shake things up from the 2016 action thriller. In a recent interview about the new trailer, director Gavin O'Connor shared his thoughts on what sets this installment apart, making it clear he wasn't interested in simply rehashing the first movie. O'Connor told Vanity Fair that he wanted the sequel to be more than just an action movie, saying he aimed to make an emotional film that explores human connection and love. He found the idea of a typical action flick boring and was eager to dive deeper into the characters. In an interview, he said, "The second film very intentionally is different from the first. Obviously, there's certain DNA that we honored. It's a puzzle movie. It's funny with certain critics. They would have some issues with the complexity of the plot, but what I always tell people is, if it's a simple plot, then anybody can figure it out, and no need to get Christian Wolff to come in. He has this planetary brain, so the trick to the movie was making it complicated enough that only Chris can crack it and the audience is just a little bit behind, but they're not so far behind that they kind of doze off and lose interest. I had no interest in repeating what we did in the first movie. I wanted to build off the first one, but very much wanted to refresh the tank, do something very different, and create something very new." On top of that, he always envisioned Christian Wolff's story as a trilogy, and that he's been recently talking to Affleck, whose company, Artists Equity, also backed the sequel, about where the story could go next. "I have a lot of thoughts about what to do with the third. I've been thinking about it for a lot of years," he says. "I am excited that it could be a trilogy, as at first The Accountant didn't get glowing reviews from critics, but it found a strong following over the years, thanks to streaming. It holds a 53% critic score and 77% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and made $155 million worldwide on a $44 million budget, turning into a big financial win. The budget for the sequel hasn't been revealed yet, but if it's in the same range, it'll need to clear $100 million to be profitable for Amazon MGM, a studio still feeling the sting from the massive flop of Red One, the Christmas action comedy with Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans. And no surprise there, honestly the acting was pretty bad in it, and the story felt like a weak attempt compared to the first Accountant, which had solid performances and a great plot. The first movie follows Christian Wolff, a highly skilled accountant who happens to be autistic. As a kid, his mother wanted to send him to Harbor Neuroscience for treatment, but his strict military father refused, believing Christian should face his triggers instead of avoiding them. After his mother leaves, his father trains him and his brother Braxton in martial arts. As an adult, Christian works as a forensic accountant for criminal organizations, uncovering financial fraud while running a small accounting office in Illinois as a front for his money laundering. He lives a strict, structured life and even helps a local farmer with taxes. His clients reach him through an anonymous woman who manages his business and multiple identities. When Living Robotics CEO Lamar Blackburn and his sister Rita notice some financial discrepancies, they hire Christian to investigate. He teams up with in-house accountant Dana Cummings, who first spotted the issue, to dig deeper. Treasury Director Ray King calls in data analyst Mary Beth Medina and drops a bombshell. He knows about her undisclosed juvenile criminal record. He gives her a choice: track down a mysterious figure known as the Accountant before he retires in a few months, or risk facing prison. Meanwhile, Christian spends the night combing through 15 years of financial records for Living Robotics and discovers that $61 million has been embezzled. He tells Rita about the missing money, but hasn't figured out who's behind it yet. That same night, the company's CFO, Ed Chilton, is forced by a hitman to fatally overdose on insulin. The next day, Lamar abruptly pays Christian the rest of his fee and tells him to leave, cutting the audit short. Christian takes out 2 hitmen sent after him and learns that Dana is also a target. He rushes to her apartment just in time to save her from another attack and takes her to his storage unit, where he keeps his Airstream RV packed with valuable artwork and collectibles he's accepted as payment. After stashing Dana in a high-end hotel for safety, he goes to confront Rita but finds her murdered, making him suspect Lamar is behind everything. Meanwhile, Medina figures out that Christian has been using aliases based on famous mathematicians. She tracks his identity to an accountancy office that doubles as a money laundering front, with most of the money funneled into Harbor Neuroscience. King and Medina lead a team to search Christian's home, but after the agents leave, King tells her that Christian has been secretly feeding him intel for years. He asks her to take over the arrangement when he retires, but she refuses, unwilling to work with a killer. As she stands in the empty house, the phone rings. When she answers, Christian's mysterious partner gives her a lead on living robotics. Christian storms Lamar's mansion, taking down a team of hitmen along the way. But the biggest shock comes when he finds out his own brother, Braxton, is working as Lamar's enforcer. The two brothers have a brutal fight before finally reconciling. When Lamar tries to justify his crimes, Christian isn't having it. He kills him and sets up a meeting with Braxton in a week. Meanwhile, another couple visits Harbor Neuroscience, where Justine, the director's daughter, is revealed to be Christian's secret partner. Medina steps into her new role as Christian's treasury contact and gives a press conference about the living robotics investigation. Elsewhere, Dana receives a framed dogs playing poker print, but soon discovers an original Jackson Pollock painting hidden underneath. The movie ends with Christian driving down a country road, his Airstream hitched behind him, heading off to his next chapter. In The Accountant 2, Treasury agent Mary Beth Medina finds herself in a deadly situation when someone close to her is murdered by unknown assassins. With no other options, she turns to Christian Wolff for help. Teaming up with his estranged but deadly brother Brax, Christian uses his sharp mind and unorthodox methods to unravel the mystery. But as they get closer to the truth, they attract the attention of some of the world's most ruthless killers, who will do whatever it takes to stop them. At its core, the sequel is about both brothers searching for connection. The movie explores loneliness, whether it's Christian awkwardly trying to meet women or Brax wondering why his brother has kept his distance. Affleck describes Christian as someone who genuinely wants relationships and friendships, but struggles with them. This is a guy who wants to have a relationship. He wants to have friends, Affleck says of Christian. He's good at some things and good at others. And I thought that's the kind of vulnerability and honesty of that was kind of an interesting risk to take. Along with the sharp banter between the brothers, The Accountant 2 delivers some intense action sequences. Christian isn't just a math genius. Both he and Brax were trained fighters from a young age, making for an interesting mix of brains and brawn. The movie also tackles human trafficking, something director Gavin O'Connor was set on including from the start. He admits balancing all these elements was tricky. He also went on to say that Bill and I very intentionally built the plot around human trafficking, and this was back in 2018 because I wanted to shine a light on that subject matter and explore that. Also, I wanted to really go deeper with the brothers, make it a two-hander, and explore that relationship with Chris and Brax. That created some complications because it was a bit of a tonal tightwalk. When you're handling such heavy subject matter as human trafficking and then trying to make a fun, entertaining film, it was challenging. It was challenging, and I honestly didn't know if I pulled it off until I put it up in front of an audience. But fortunately, it's all working and I'm very pleased with it. Overall, this sequel has a lot to offer and I'm really excited for it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because we'll be bringing you more updates on this and other exciting upcoming movies and shows. See you next time.